Hey guys, welcome to D3 Media Monster Mania. Today we're going to talk about Godzilla Planet of Monsters, the new Godzilla anime that was just released on Netflix. So before I go any further, I just want to give a spoiler warning out for this. I'm not going to do two separate videos. I'm just going to go in-depth into the movie as I do this review, so I can actually have a good discussion about it. So as that being said, the story for this movie is actually pretty interesting for a Godzilla movie. It takes place like thousands of years in the future where humanity has left Earth trying to find another planet because they couldn't kill Godzilla or any of the other kaiju on planet Earth. And I really like that because it's something different than they did with the Godzilla franchise. So they go off into another planet and then they find out that there's really no other planet out there in the solar system that can sustain the human life or the alien life that they have on board. That's right, aliens came down and tried to help kill Godzilla as a way so they can try to colonize Earth or whatever. So anyway, they staged this desperate mission to come back to Earth to try to take it back from Godzilla, who is pretty much at the top of the food chain right now. So let's go over some of the problems that I had with this movie. The first problem that I have with this movie is actually a problem that a lot of people had with the 2014 Godzilla movie, is that there's just not enough Godzilla. And usually Godzilla's screen times in his movies ranges from around 20 to 30 minutes. In this movie though, it's about 10. And it's just ridiculous. It's not very well, it's paced throughout the movie well, but we just didn't see enough Godzilla in a Godzilla movie. Another big problem that I had with this movie, which was a pretty big one for me, is that there's no monster combat in this movie. I figured for a movie called Planet of Monsters that we would at least get to see Godzilla fight some kind of other kaiju or giant monster in this movie. But there's nothing. We never see him engage in any form of combat of any kind. I get that they might want to be trying to save that for another movie, but for a movie that has this kind of title and this kind of premise, the possibilities, I think, could have been endless. And at the end of the movie, when they think they finally killed Godzilla, it is revealed that it is only an offspring of Godzilla, and suddenly the original Godzilla from when they left Earth thousands of years ago rises up, and it is this massive Godzilla. I think the biggest Godzilla on screen, definitely the biggest Godzilla on screen today. Bigger than Shin Godzilla. I mean, Shin Godzilla was probably this tall, and then this new one is probably I don't know, maybe this tall compared to it. It's just, and the problem that I have with that is that it just seems like this Godzilla is just so big, and I know nothing here is realistic, but it does kind of make it kind of unrealistic. I just couldn't imagine a creature that size existing. And also I'm trying to think what would there be to defeat it, because if you look at it, the only monster I can really see defeating Godzilla is something like King Ghidorah or maybe Mechagodzilla or something like that. And the Mechagodzilla that they showed as a brief cameo in this movie is the size of the smaller Godzilla, and they're rumored that they're going to bring this Mechagodzilla in the next movie, and I'm wondering how they're going to do that, because this Mechagodzilla is half the size of, less than half the size of this Godzilla that appears at the end. Also, I'm wondering if King Ghidorah or something like that ever comes along. King Ghidorah is traditionally taller than Godzilla. He's much bigger than Godzilla, and I'm wondering how they're going to do that with this massive Godzilla. Another thing about the animation in this movie is that it jumps back and forth a lot from being really realistic and then also looking really cartoonish in some shots. And it is kind of jarring and takes a little bit of getting used to. But for the good things with this movie, I have to say, like I said before, I liked it that it did something different with the franchise. I know that sometimes this Godzilla versus whatever monster just showing up gets kind of boring after a while. I'm glad that we actually got some interesting human characters, because I don't think very often that you get interesting human characters in Godzilla movies. The best Godzilla movies, like the original 54 one and movies like that, have interesting human characters, but usually you don't get that, and they usually don't translate over very well when they're dubbed over for American audiences. So I enjoyed that we actually got some interesting characters in this movie, and I did enjoy the human side of it, but I just think that there was too much of it. But like I said, I am happy that they are doing something a little bit different with, the Godzilla franchise right now with these animated movies. And, to bring up the animation again, when the animation looks good, it looks really good. Like, the jumping back and forth, didn't bother me enough to ruin it for me, and I still think it came out, beautiful. The animation is beautiful in this movie. There's also a tease in the movie that I caught onto. I don't know if anybody else has caught onto it on the internet or not. I might do a post on Reddit about it in the Godzilla group or something like that. But there's the alien character, he's a priest in the movie, and he was talking with the main character about how they've seen his alien species has been wandering around the universe and has seen many civilizations fall to creatures similar to Godzilla. And he was saying how there was one that has destroyed so many, and he was about to say the name and then it got interrupted by an attack from Godzilla, and I was wondering if he was referencing King Ghidorah. That would be awesome if he was, but another possibility is that I read that Space Godzilla was originally said to be in this movie, and unfortunately, for some reason he didn't show up in the prequel novel or this movie, so whichever reason, I couldn't really see him fitting in this story, really, Space Godzilla. But that is also interesting to say that the creator said that he does exist in this universe, so maybe Space Godzilla, they're talking about maybe there's a space version of Godzilla, and with this origin of Godzilla being made out of plant life and being something that comes from the earth, maybe this Space Godzilla is instead of a Godzilla whatever he was in Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla, he is something that comes from actually another planet like this Godzilla did in this continuity. Anyways, guys, I thought this movie was okay. It's not gonna go down as my favorite Godzilla movie, and it's not gonna go down as one of my not favorite ones. I would watch it again. It was a little bit too different for me at sometimes, but then again, like I said, I am happy they did something new. But I would recommend it. If you're a Godzilla fan, definitely check it out. I personally, like I mentioned in my Ghost in the Shell review, I'm not a big anime fan, but I have been actually watching a little bit more anime lately. And this isn't something that's going to get me into anime like I mentioned again with Ghost in the Shell. But I did watch it just because it was Godzilla, and I felt like I had to watch it being such a huge Godzilla fan. And I was pretty hyped for it, and I think that it met about the level of hype that I had. I wasn't so overly excited for it, because after Shin Godzilla, I haven't even seen that movie yet, but seeing the direction that they went, I wasn't really looking too forward to anything that Toho was putting out Godzilla related. I'm more looking forward to the Legendary verse Godzilla to see what they're gonna do. But I think that the heyday of Godzilla, the rubber suit acting and the miniature sets and stuff like that, I think that's all kind of gone now. I don't think we're ever going to see that style of Godzilla movie ever again, which is sad. So I don't think we're ever going to get that true suit actor in suit Godzilla movie again. But for what it's worth, for what we're getting, this anime and everything, it's nice to see something new, and I would definitely check it out if you're a Godzilla fan. It's definitely something that you'd want to talk about with other Godzilla fans, and I don't think it was a bad movie. So that's my thoughts on it. So that's it for me, guys. As always, if you like what you see, go and hit subscribe. You can follow me on Facebook and Twitter. The links are in the description below. Also, be sure to check out my website. The link is also in the description below. And remember, I waste my money so you don't have to. Thanks for watching.